Hello on the Daily Fam. Welcome back to the podcast. We have another guest episode for you this fine Tuesday. This episode I'm really excited about because I got to interview and chat with my friend Marie Wold, who is OG coach in the coaching space. I think she was doing online coaching before online coaching was cool. And she comes from the fitness industry. She was a body comp girly, moved into the health and wellness space, and is now a very prominent business coach in the industry. And we have become friends through our mutual friend and coach. Shout out Sabrina. And so we were hanging out doing a content day it was probably like a month ago now. And we were talking about all these things at the coaching space and like what we wish people understood when they're starting a business and like how it's so much more than just really good strategy, but like you can't do it without really good strategy. And we just had this moment where we were like, we have to talk about this. Like, let's do it on the podcast. And so we're finally doing it. And this episode is going very deep into certain aspects of the coaching space, of the entrepreneurship space. I think, our ability to go super vulnerable in this episode is going to both shock you and probably give you a little bit of peace and solace because I don't think it's like what a lot of people talk about. Like, I really don't. So entrepreneurs, coaches, this episode is for you. So you can find Marie on Instagram. You can go to her website. All of those links are linked in the show notes. So make sure you go check out Marie and Marie's stuff, her podcast, all the things. And without further ado, let's get into this episode.
Let's jump into it. Where should we begin?
Okay, so this whole conversation started because we decided one day we were just gonna, it was your idea. You were like, hey, do you want to like shoot content? And I was like, yes.
I need a content friend.
And we were like, great, perfect. So we rented out this really cute space here in Austin. I don't even remember what it's called, or I'd shout them out. What was it called? Space?
I don't remember.
It was great. And if I remember, I'm going to put it in the show notes. If you're in Austin and you want to rent a space, it was great.
Yeah.
And when we were there, we started just talking about the difference between what people think they're going to need to get started in business, whatever they do, and then like what actually they need.
Yes. Yeah. Because I always say this, that there are a million ways to make $1 million, but like there's also a wrong way to do it.
There's a wrong way to do it. I did it the wrong way the first time.
Me too. And nothing existed like what exists now. Like, I think a lot of people complain about it's too saturated or I'm too late or it's too noisy and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yes, like a lot more people are doing it and it is noisier now. But also there are so many resources available. When I was coming up, there was nothing. Like, I literally made everything up.
I was going to say, let's talk about it because like I said this in your episode intro, but like you are an OG in this space. Like you were doing coaching before people even knew what that was.
Correct. Yeah.
So I almost feel like you have this really cool perspective of like, because again, we all hear it. People go, I just like, I just don't feel like I know what I'm doing. Like, I just feel like I just need somebody to like show me what to do.
Yeah.
And I want you to share about this. Like, I want you to spill the motherfucking tea because this is something that people get so
tripped
about.
up on. Yeah. And my joke is that I'm like a founding father of
you signed the Bill of Rights.
Because I am. Like, I actually get to say that. And that's something, I turned 30 this week as of us recording this. I'm like, honestly, in my 30s, I just need to be like way fucking louder because I actually am that bitch. Like,
I saw, you know what? Okay, it's funny that you say that because I actually saw a thread you did. Like, and you wrote like, as an OG in this space, like you responded to someone and you're like, as an OG in this space.
As like the original.
Yeah, you're like, that's what you wrote. Oh yeah, it was a capital THE. She's like, I am the original coach or something. And I was like, go off, Marie, go off.
Like, why don't I own that more? Because it's objectively true.
Yeah.
So my origin story in summary is I fell into becoming like one of the first fitness influencers before the word influencer even existed. Like that was not even a thing. No one was monetizing social media. Like there were some people that were making money blogging, but it was really just like there were bloggers.
Was MySpace still a thing?
MySpace was a thing, yeah. but it was dying off, and like the next wave of like things had not really, blogs were kind of a thing.
What year was this?
This was 2012.
Instagram had just taken off.
Yep, Instagram was just taking off, but it was still like a square photo app with like there was no stories.
People were taking only the photos from the app and using one
adding
of their
like
filters.
the Valencia filter, like
the
whatever.
one.
And so
Clarence.
Yeah, and so I just started documenting. I was like having a kick with like blossoming eating disorder, to be honest, but at the time, health and fitness journey.
And we love this for us.
Yeah. And so I was like, I was also taking a photo class. I was in high school. I was taking a photo class. So I was like, I'm just going to document like my meals and whatever. And I've always loved cooking. So I just started sharing like my workouts. I would take a picture of like a notebook with my workouts. Eventually, I would do very mediocre graphic design.
Yep.
And I grew to like 10,000 followers in the first 6 months, which is at that time, like I was famous.
Yeah. You know, I was one of the first, this is like my claim to fame. I was one of the first 75 people with an Instagram.
Oh my, that is amazing.
Yeah. You know why? Because I knew the original founder before he sold it.
That's sick.
Yeah,
he was like, that's a great fun fact.
Yeah, I met him I was the maid of honor of a friend's wedding. We're not friends anymore, but I was her maid of honor, and he was one of the groomsmen.
That's so good for like 2 truths and a lie.
Totally. Well, it was like 2008, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm just starting this like company. It's like a social media platform. It's called Instagram." He only sold it. I think he only sold it for like $6 million. Woof.
Oh my God.
We need to do an episode on investments. But anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, you grew to 10,000 followers in 2012, which was insane.
Yeah. And then about 6 months later, I wasn't the first one to, so I was definitely one of the first. I saw someone selling ebooks, and I was like, oh, like I could put all my recipes in an ebook.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was anyone sharing how they were doing it? No. I figured out how to like take photos on my digital camera, upload them to my computer, use.
Oh yeah, because you had to do it through cords back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Create like PDFs in what's the freaking slideshow program? PowerPoint. I made PDFs in PowerPoint, used like Gumroad or some sketchy like thing to deliver them. I delivered the first like 100 of them manually via like to each person's email, and they were $7. But my audience was so hot and so niched that I made like thousands of dollars, like a couple $1,000. It was rivaling the money I was making nannying that summer, and I was like, oh.
I could do this.
I'm onto something here.
I could do this.
Yeah, and so that evolved, and then I started working with brands, and like household names were approaching me. First, it was just free stuff, which I was really happy about.
You were like just out of high school kid. Yeah, you're like, let's go.
Yeah, but then by the time I graduated college, I was making like more than what I would have expected to make like out of school as my full-time salary.
Yeah,
like 50, 60K a year just from brand deals. I was signing 25K brand deals, and in college doing it part-time. And then as more and more influencers entered the space and it started getting more competitive, I was like, I'm starting to see that this, like, if this is going to be my career, I'm going to have to wait for all the brands to decide that they want to hire and pay me. How can I start taking some more like ownership of my income?
Right.
And that's when I started online coaching. And again, I wasn't the first, but I was like, I can think of maybe 2 people that were doing it before me.
Right.
And they weren't explaining how they were doing it. And so I just figured it out. Like that's literally how I did it. And I made a lot of mistakes for sure. Undercharging, like not having systems, not doing my taxes for the first like 2 years. Like
you're like, I'll figure that out later.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I very much built the airplane as I was flying, and was like the queen of messy action. And I still am, but definitely.
This is such an Aquarius thing.
Yeah.
Too. Like
I saw the vision and I was like, we're just going. We're going.
Well, you know what's interesting is like, so I was actually talking about, I don't know where I was talking about this, but it was recently Uranus, planet of like that rules Aquarius.
Yeah.
It was entering Aries at that time in 2011, which is like right when Instagram took off.
Yeah.
So like this planet of like shock and awe and innovation was entering the sign of like Aries, bold, unapologetic leadership. And so I think I would love to know where Aries is in your chart, actually, because I'm like, people that took advantage of that space. Well, what's your rising?
Aquarius.
Okay, so Aquarius is your rising. So Pisces is your second house. So it's your house of communication.
Okay.
So yeah, like you literally, Uranus entered Aries, and now like you took that and you literally learned how to communicate. via social media.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's really freaking cool.
Yeah. And I'm a 2-4 manifesting generator.
So like,
so it's like I'm perfectly engineered.
Yeah, you were
for
born
this
with
job.
the how hard it could be. Could it be gene.
Yeah.
So do you just get like, I get annoyed when people go, I just like don't know if I can do this. Like I just don't know if I can figure it out. Like this is really hard. Like I get annoyed by that. And I was not an OG. So you must get very annoyed.
I do. I at some level I just can't relate. Like I just have always been the person where I'm like, if I decide that I want something, like that's it. The decision is made and I'll figure it out. Like
I think
it's
you
just
need
a
that
matter
for
of time.
entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
I think one of like my hot takes of this is like, if you're coming into like entrepreneurship in any capacity, I don't care what you do, whether you're an online coach or what, if you're coming into entrepreneurship and you don't have the how hard could it be gene, you're going to have a really, and it's not like it's impossible, but you're going to have a really hard fucking time.
Yeah.
And you better
like
find
the audacity. You have to have the audacity.
You have to have the audacity. And if you don't, you better have a business partner who does. Like if you're going to be the vanilla, you need someone that's the spice.
Yeah, I agree.
Because like I've seen it so many times where like people are like, I just don't, I don't know. Like, I don't know this. It's hard. It feels hard. And then they like take like 5 weeks off. You know, you can always tell because it's always the people that are like, they'll disappear and then they'll be like, wow, I'm back. You know, they instead of just like coming back to work, they'll be like, I took some time off. I was really, you know, I was trying to figure some things out. And it's like,
when in like actuality, action is the thing that creates clarity most often. So
tell me more. I mean, I know what you're saying, but
I mean, I have this conversation like every day where people are like, yeah, I'm just trying to figure this thing out, or I've just been thinking a lot about XYZ, whether it's the type of business they want to have or their niche or their branding or the next offer or whatever. I'm like, thinking yourself, like you will literally think yourself to death and you will think yourself out of the move that you're supposed to be making. And you really can't, like, even though I've been in the game for so long, you really can't think of everything until it's like in the market. Like I can think that something is a great idea and a great offer and whatever. And yes, when I'm excited about it, then people usually respond. But like you really don't know how something's going to do or what people are going to think until you put it out there. And like my programs have gotten where they are, my brand has gotten where it is because I try shit on. Like I put it out there and I get a response and then I'm like, I loved that. I didn't love that. That didn't work the way I thought. We need to double down there. And like just the constant tweaking and refining. I actually saw a thread of someone who's like, wait, so is entrepreneurship really just like testing and tweaking and troubleshooting and problem solving every day until you die? And it's like, yeah,
correct.
Yes, it actually is.
And eventually, like, you might be able to buy yourself a nice bag. Like, that's it. Yeah.
That's the game.
Well, and what's interesting, too, is, like, I think that there's this belief that, like, people who are successful, like, have never had anything that flopped.
Oh, I flop constantly.
All the time. But like people are going, well, yeah, but I didn't know about that. I'm like, exactly.
Yeah, because no one was there.
No one was there.
That's why it was a flop.
So that's why it was a flop. And I went back to the drawing board and I fixed it. And then, or I decided like, is that actually what I wanted to put out? Or was I like just trying something based on what somebody else was doing? Because like we've all been there, you know, oh, I should do that. And then you go, oh, I don't want to do this.
Yeah. No, the first course I ever tried to launch, so I had already been fitness coaching for a couple of years. And this was like early curve of like the webinar era.
Yeah.
And I knew someone, I was living in LA at the time, and he was like, I've learned all about this thing, like webinars and funnels and launching, and like, let's do a course together. I'm like, okay, great. Like my whole thought process was completely backwards because I was like, people need to learn about fat loss. So I'm going to make a course about fat loss. And then I recorded it and I did every mistake, literally like the exact opposite of how I would tell my clients to do this now. But I like recorded the whole thing, did zero market research, made it, named it, everything, did a webinar. And based on the registration for the webinar, I was like, I'm going to make like at least 200 sales. And like, this is so good. I even had like it peer reviewed by dietitians and all. Like I thought,
you were ready.
I thought about it real hard and like thought my way through everything. I was like, this is so good. It's going to sell really well. 2 sales. Literally
from the webinar.
Two. Yeah. And then
how much time did you put into that webinar?
Oh, like between pre-recording the whole course.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And the webinar, probably 100 hours or something. Like
for 2 sales.
Yeah, for 2 sales. And I did literally everything wrong because I thought I knew what needed to happen. I thought my way through it all instead of validating like what people wanted and what the offer
testing
needed
it
to
out.
be. And like, that's just so opposite of the way I help people launch courses now and how I come out with new things now.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you follow more of like a monetize it before you build it?
I love a good pre-sale.
Yeah, before you build it.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever tried to build, maybe once or twice I've like built something before I like sold it. But now but I think a lot of people think that they have to do that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And really all you need 3 things. You need the promise of what it is, like what they're going to get, what people are going to achieve, what their transformation is, the packaging of like how that's happening.
Yeah, what it's going to look like. Yeah.
A place for people to pay you.
Yeah.
You need 3 things
That's
to
it.
start to launch something.
Right.
That's it.
I know when I was building Break the Matrix, I built it the first round, like as we went. I'm so glad I did that because like what I thought was going to take 16 weeks took 20, but then I'm like, but actually like we didn't need as much time. But can you imagine if I would have like tried to build all that out and then it's like now that it's like out there, now we can tweak as we go.
Yep.
But I think a lot of people will stop themselves because, I have to build these modules. And it's like, why? I don't do work before I get paid for it.
Yeah. Especially people do that with coaching too. Like they're like, oh, I'm going to come up with a program and it needs to have a curriculum. I'm like, no. Like the whole point of why people hire coaches is that it's customized and it meets you where you're at. And it's like in it with you. Like it's people do not hire coaches to go through videos.
Right.
So it's great if they already exist and it's a bonus, but like please do not delay getting your work into the world so that you can feel ready because it's really self-sabotage. Like it's this perfectionism, it's self-sabotage of like, well, if I just feel ready and if I have everything exactly the way that I want, then it can't fail.
Well, yeah. And it's also like, what is feeling ready anyway? Like, what would you even, like, I always ask people, well, what would that look like to feel ready?
Yeah.
And they don't know.
No.
I don't know, but I'll know it when I feel it. I'm like,
right.
Yes. Yeah. The like lack of action. But also the coaching space is changing.
For sure.
And it's going to keep changing because you're honest, that planet that entered Gemini is going to entered Aries is going to enter Gemini this summer. So like Gemini, the planet of the mind and like the way we communicate.
Okay.
It's entering that sign. So like, I think social media is about to change completely. I think the way that we coach is going to shift. I'm like, I actually like had this moment the other day. Everybody listening to this and be like, well, why the fuck did I hire you? I had this moment the other day where I was like, I kind of fucking hate the coaching industry. Yeah. But like, I love it.
Yeah.
And obviously like I have very good friends in it, but like as a whole, I'm very over a lot of it.
Oh, I feel that. And also I've been in it for like, I've been in the online
You've probably gone
space.
through many waves of being over it.
Yeah. I've been in coaching for like 7-8 years, something like that. And yeah. I've seen it iterate and implode and rebirth and I've seen so many eras of this.
I think we're gonna get away, and I know you don't do this. Like I love money transparency. I always have. I don't love, and this happens rampantly when that is the only thing people stand on.
Yes,
and that happens.
Like just hire me because I make money.
Because I make $1 million every 10 weeks. Yeah, I'm like, I don't care how much money you make.
I saw someone recently post a screenshot of their savings account had $1 million in it.
I know what you're talking about.
And I was like, I immediately don't trust your financial advice because that keeping $1 million
Why would you do that?
liquid in your savings account is a terrible choice. Terrible choice. So
I know who you're talking about.
It is impressive.
And I bought one of her courses.
I have too.
I actually think she's a great teacher.
I do too. But I'm like, this is not the flex that you think it is.
This is not Dave Ramsey. Like Dave Ramsey is out.
Yeah.
Out.
Yeah.
This is giving Dave Ramsey. Like when people, that's the other thing. When people go, oh my gosh, I paid a 7-figure tax bill. I'm like, wouldn't hire you because I'd rather die.
Yeah.
Like I literally told my accountant, I'm like, when we are at the point where I have $1 million tax bill, I need you to instead redirect me to where I can buy a plane.
Yeah.
Because that is what we will be doing to offset those costs.
Yes. Yeah.
I have zero interest in paying taxes. I will. Like, listen.
Within reason.
Listen, everyone. We're not telling you to evade the IRS, okay? That's not what we're doing. What we're saying is, like, be
There's strategy.
There's tax
it's
strategy.
strategic.
And if you're following people that are flexing on like $1 million in a liquid savings account, like, okay, well,
yeah,
live your truth. Like to each his own.
Yes, but that's not necessarily the way that I would want to do it. Anyways, how did we even get on that?
Well, just like people they sell everything based on like the money that they're making.
Yes.
I think that's changing too.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that people, I think on a broader scale, like the way that class consciousness is really rising, like I think that people will tolerate that less and less. And like, yes, money is freedom and power and choice and agency and all of those things. But I do think that people are going to become more sensitive to marketing off of simply financial wealth. And also, like, I'd rather be loud about my clients' money wins.
Word.
Like, yeah, I can show you my house and my car, and I posted a picture of our cars on my story before I
your
came
horse
in here.
is the most important.
Yeah,
I think your horse is the biggest flex you have.
No one really knows.
No,
though,
I know.
is
I do though. Your horse and your Hermes
know.
boots are like the biggest flex to me. Like when I see that, I'm like, ooh, she got a fancy horse.
Yeah.
What did you call Atlanta? You said she's the. I said she's a fancy girl, and you were like, she's like the. Like you said, she's the Paris Hilton of horses or something. It was like something silly like that.
I don't know what I said, but I did hire an animal communicator when I first got her, and she told the animal communicator.
This is the story.
Oh, yeah. So when I got her, lots of funny things. She was like, first of all, you're not my new mom. You're my new owner. Let's like talk about this in 6 months and see how it goes.
Yeah.
But one of the things she said was like, I know I'm valuable and I'm treated as such.
And I'm like, that's
yes.
it. That's it.
And that is exactly her personality. Like she deserves the best.
I love when you say that. I love when you say like, I have a business like that so that I can be a horse girl. Like that's that's what
literally
it
that has been my top motivation since I was a kid, because I have always been horse crazy. And my mom was like, Marie, horses are very expensive and you will either need to marry rich or make a lot of money. And I was like, well, I'm certainly not waiting for a man to get this for me. So I guess
Mother,
I am
a rich man.
Yeah, exactly.
Share.
I better get to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How else do you think the industry's going to shift? I like this conversation.
I think
class consciousness. I think that's true because I even saw like Taylor Swift's people start to eat her for they're starting to like eat her alive for like all the labels that she's wearing.
Labels and the jets and the blah, blah, blah. Which, okay, realistically, how the fuck would Taylor Swift fly commercial? Like that would never. That would be a security risk for everyone.
That'd be a security risk for everyone, but she's also a projector. And like projectors, the only way that girl can perform a 3-hour show multiple times is if she immediately can like disconnect
goes to
from
her
it.
bubble. Yeah, for
like,
sure.
I'm all for that. But like even like, she gave like $10 million to the LA wildfires and her people are like eating her alive that wasn't enough.
How much did they give?
Right. Like they're like, that's like $700 to her. And I'm like, did you give $700?
I would bet you.
I did. Yeah. But like, I can afford, you didn't.
Yeah.
Like $700 is a lot of money, like, but it's true. Like there's this, and I think it's Aquarian. I think it's Aquarius energy. Like now that we're in the Aquarian age, people are going to focus less on like the hierarchy of things and more about like, great, well, what can we build together?
Yes.
And if there's a disconnect.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that, and I think people, this is kind of an unpopular opinion, but I actually think it was like too easy before.
Word.
So in like the gold rush of the online space, which was like 2018 to like 2021, maybe into 2022, was like everyone was flocking into the space and you could like sneeze and make money or say anything and make money.
Yep.
And a lot of people came in, saw success, and now they're struggling because they never actually developed skills. They never actually developed like the embodiment of being a CEO, and also
the healing. Like the healing, like your fear of being seen and all these things that are required to really like build a big business. They like bypassed that.
Yeah. And there's also the element of all these people came in, a lot of them who weren't actually like, didn't actually care that much if they delivered results or gave people a good service or were in integrity in their work. A lot of people got burned. Yeah. And now there's an underlying current of like distrust and like it has already weeded a lot of people out.
Totally.
Like I have
people that were like
so many people
big
that
and now
I
they're
came
just
up
gone.
with are nowhere to be
They're
found. Yeah, gone. And I do think that people like buyers are a lot savvier, a lot more discerning, as they should be.
You can look a lot more up on ChatGPT now.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it's not an information game. It's not like who can give me the right information.
No, because everything is literally Googleable or
Correct.
ChatGPT-able.
Yeah.
Is that a saying
However,
yet?
like
Are we saying that yet? ChatGPT-able?
Yeah.
I don't know. We should be.
Chattable?
Chattable. It's chattable.
I had someone DM me
AI-able.
recently. They were like, yeah, I have my whole business plan and my niche and my launch plan mapped out from ChatGPT. I was like, okay,
Wow.
like we'll see.
We'll see.
I'm skeptical.
I think depending on how, because like I actually I've been like really training ChatGPT to understand astrology because at first it didn't. And like people, like I had clients coming to me like, well, I looked my chart up on ChatGPT and then this is what it said. I'm like, it's wrong. That's wrong. Why didn't you ask me? I'm the one you pay for this.
Yeah.
But I was like, but you know what? ChatGPT, the more we teach it, the more it learns.
Yes.
So I've actually been like, and I think you and I talked about this, like my ChatGPT knows a lot about me. It knows my hobbies. It knows my daily routines. It knows what I like. It knows what I don't like. It knows the way I speak. And now it like really understands a chart. So like it actually does know a lot.
Yeah, but you only can discern that because you know a lot.
Because I know. That's such a good point. Yes. If you're using it to like teach you things you don't know.
Exactly. So
I think it will get there.
This girl is a beginner, and she's like, I just had it map out my entire business plan for me. I was like, okay, like I'm very eager to take a look at this because I have prompted chat to do similar things, and I'm like, no,
that's not it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what else I think is interesting? Another astrology fact. In 2023, the North Node was in Aries. Yeah, it was in Aries. And anytime something's in Aries, things start, right? So that was like right when the MRR thing started. Yeah. It was like, and not monthly what was that even called?
Master resale rights.
Master fucking resale rights.
Yeah.
I could not remember. I was like, it's not monthly recurring revenue.
That's
it's the other one. That's the correct form of MRR. But I think what happened was, and I think this is what's going to shift a lot now that the North Node has moved into Pisces, is we will have a lot less people trying to teach people to do things that they themselves have not done. That was crazy.
Yes.
I'm going to teach you how to make money online.
How much money have you made?
Even though I've made no money online, I'm going to teach you how to make money online. Or like, I'm going to teach you about female embodiment, but like they're the most stressed out fucking person on the planet. I'm going to teach you like how to be a good parent, but I'm not a parent. Like what?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to teach you how to be a millionaire. What?
Right. Yeah,
I don't teach people to become millionaires because that's not what I specialize in. That's not what I'm teaching people.
The amount of brand new Instagram accounts that follow me that are like faceless millionaire or like
make money passively. Make money.
And I'm like, you have 5 posts. They look the same as everyone else, and you're all selling the same thing.
Okay, fuck a faceless account.
Build a brand.
In the world of AI and robots, the only way that you are truly going to have longevity is if people can hear, see, feel, taste, touch you.
Being a human being that people that feel connected to.
Because like I even think eventually AI will be sentient, but it won't have blood and it won't have a heart and it won't have like human connectedness.
Which is where like the embodiment and authenticity and like
vulnerability,
you're like actually niching based on your humanness is going to be the thing.
It's already starting. I mean, I'm really interested to see what's happened to some of these coaches that run their whole business off of like how much money they make or like, you know, the flashiness of it all.
Yeah.
I'm hoping, because I don't doubt that they're not good coaches. I doubt that what I think is that they probably just need like better tools. Like they need a new trick. And I'm hoping that they find one.
Yeah.
Because it would be sad to see them like disappear.
For sure.
But I'm also like, you're going to need to adjust. Like you're going to need to figure this out because it's not going to work. Or like people that they run their whole business based off what they did like 10 years ago. And it's like, you know how much has shifted in 10 years?
Yeah.
Who cares if you made $5 million in 2010. That was 15 years ago. Wow. Okay. Okay. In 2015, like, who cares that you made $5 million? What are you doing now? How have you shifted now? Like, with the current climate and the current world events and the current struggle of the world, like, how have you shifted?
Yeah, the world is completely different. The like internet landscape is completely different.
Completely
Even
different.
I look at the content, like whenever I'm about to launch, which I'm like prepping for one right now, I always go back to my content from like last time I launched this offer. And like even 6 months ago, a year ago, I'm like, I can't use this.
Can't
like
use
this is not it anymore.
No, or the emails that we sent out from the last launch, I'm like, this is not relevant anymore.
Yeah.
This is not gonna land.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish people like really knew that, because it makes me sad. Like, I'm sure you have too. Like, I've had clients like finish my container and then they go to one of those coaches, which like, no shade. Like, I am not that person like that gets butthurt about those kind of things. I know some people do. Oh my gosh, they left me for that coach, or they left me for that coach. And I'm like, you know what? Go fly.
Go with God.
Go with God. Peace and blessings. Namaste. Do your thing. And there's like always a part of me that's like, I know why.
Yeah.
You know, we're both 2 lines in human design. Like, I know why.
I've also had people do that and literally come back and be like, "Oh, every time I didn't know how good I had."
Yeah, most of the time they come back. I feel like most of the time people come back, but it's like, you know, it's like I get why you did it, because it's flashy, and I'm teaching you how to rewire your nervous system, so that you can hold that later on.
Yeah,
you're trying to bypass the nervous system part and just do it now.
Go straight to the shiny.
Yeah, which like it's just never gonna be me. I'm just like not gonna. It's just not how I operate. And I know that's not how you operate.
No, there has to be substance underneath. Like, I cannot. I just am physically incapable of only.
Well, you've been doing this a long time.
Yeah.
When did you transition from fitness to like just business, like coaching, like business coaching?
I think about 2018.
Yeah, like right before the pandemic.
Yeah, 2018 or maybe 2019. But I had already, at that point, like, one of my pet peeves is when people's first successful business is business coaching. I'm like, how does that work?
Teaching somebody to do something you've never done.
Yes, correct. So by the time I had done business coaching, I had already almost made my first like million to date. I had passed my first like $250,000 year as a health, fitness, like lifestyle coach and personal brand. And I just realized that I was having a lot more fun, like talking shop with other entrepreneurs, or people were sliding into my DMs asking me,
making
like,
fitness plans.
Like telling my clients like, no, I promise it's okay if you eat birthday cake at your kids. Like, I was like, I just don't want to have this conversation every day anymore.
Had you left because you were like a body comp? Had you stopped doing that at that point too?
That was also a pivotal thing, was I had stopped doing my bikini competitions because my body literally could not anymore.
Yeah.
Like, my body completely freaked out after my last competition, and it took me like several years to
Those are so much more emotional too than people think.
Yeah.
The depression is real.
It felt like I honestly had to, like, I was forced to pivot because I could no longer market off of, I have an 8-pack, like, which was super fascinating to people, and like being shredded is just fascinating, but
still
I could
it's like a trend that just like will not die.
Yeah, I could no longer market off of that, and I had to go through the journey of like, okay, then who am I without this? How do I be confident without the quote unquote perfect body?
Vanity metrics, oh, so relatable.
All of that,
so real.
Yeah, and I went deeper into, okay, now because I can't market the easy way, which abs is like the equivalent of money in fitness world.
100%.
I can't market off my abs, so like I need to actually get good at marketing and like get good at
storytelling.
Yeah, everything else.
Yeah.
And so then I did.
That's cool though. That's like a cool like little universe nudge to you.
Yeah, I was forced to.
Figure it out, sis.
Exactly. And I started out by taking a few just like one-on-one business clients just to try it out and see if I liked it, and start seeing if I could develop like patterns and a method and all of that.
Were they people that were starting like fitness?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like right in your niche.
Yeah. So it's people who had watched me build. And I've pivoted so many times, but what we've talked about is like having the personal brand be really strong and bringing people along the journey. It always made sense. People were like, oh, this makes complete sense for you.
Yeah.
Like, because they know who I am and they know my values.
Yeah. I mean, the same, like I started in fitness.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I started as a professional dancer.
Yeah.
Then I was a little Disney star. Then I went to fitness and like built like a personal brand through fitness.
Mm-hmm.
So then when I went into like the health and wellness space, it was obvious because it was like, well, yeah, fitness to health and wellness, like easy money.
Mm-hmm.
But like I've always stayed true to like a personal brand. I think that's what I wish people realize too, is like your niche cannot overshadow your personal brand because my niche has changed a lot.
Yeah.
But my personal brand remains the same. And it's like help as many people as I can become the best version of themselves in lots of different ways. But like it's always been like that's been the brand. And I think that's why I've been able to pivot from like, you know, fitness to health and wellness to business to now like more spiritual stuff. Like, I'm kind of at this point, like, I'm not like there yet, but I can feel that I'm getting there where I'm kind of like done doing business coaching. Like, I want to like just read people's charts all day. And like, I want to help people like tap into their like intuition and which is very Aquarius of me, like tapping more into the systems of the universe, like universal power, universal truth. But it's like, I know that transition will be seamless. And I actually had like a writer of mine that used to take my class at SoulCycle like years ago in Beverly Hills. She commented on something on TikTok and was like, oh my gosh, I used to take your class in Beverly Hills and it's so cool to see you doing this now. This is exactly like what you should have been doing all along. And I'm like, really? Because like I definitely was not talking about like Heidi Montag's like spiritual, like her birth chart in SoulCycle, but it's like, but I did always kind of talk about things beyond like fitness.
Yeah.
Like I was always kind of like in the stars.
Yeah. Just defying the box basically.
Yeah. And so I think that like, I really wish people knew that. Like, don't let your niche or the idea of your niche overshadow your personal brand and actually just like what you fucking stand for.
Because that's also how you just blend right in, right? Like there are a lot of people that are selling the quote unquote same thing.
Yep.
And especially now, like you said, in the era of AI only becoming bigger, like the biggest competitive edge you have is yourself.
It's yourself.
And that is like, so I think the way a lot of people teach niche is like, my niche is women ages 25 to 35.
They're teaching it as demographic.
Yes. And that is not it. And that's going to just blend right into the noise. Like, she has a golden doodle and she watches Gossip Girl as her comfort show and like whatever. I'm like, okay, so do all of us.
Or we have at one point. Or we know that look.
Yeah.
We see it everywhere.
And it blends right in. But like your essence, your personality, your passions, your values, even just like random shit. Like I love a red nail. Like, or I love romantasy books, and that my Instagram DMs are blowing up today because a big book just dropped today and we're all freaking out about it. And it's like, we're all bonding over that.
Right. But it's like the community you built. Yeah. I mean, and yes. And that's it. It's like, what is the stuff you talk about that has nothing to do with your business, but like people can stay connected to you.
Yeah. And you know you're doing it right when people start sending you things that remind them of you. Like people always send me like horse stuff or golden retriever
I get all
stuff.
the astrology stuff.
And you're like, yes.
All of
like
it.
I take you in astrology stuff too.
I know all this. Like I get like people will always send me, there's a clip that goes around of Dua Lipa and she's like, I don't have a therapist, but I do have an astrologer. And people will send, she was like on a podcast. I think she's been on many podcasts and saying that, but people will always send me that clip and I'm like, yes, it's a thing. Like, correct. It's a thing. Or like cool outfits people will send me, like, I don't know, like music. I think people just like know me for like my love of music. But yeah, it's like, it's a real, I also this year, I've decided I'm going to, I hide, I think this is like all my Scorpio placements. I hide behind like authenticity so that I don't have to be vulnerable. And it's like, cause my vulnerability has like gotten me like burned a lot, you know, cause like I go deep with people and a lot of people like think they want that until they have it, and then they're like, whoa, too much. But so I hide behind this like wall of like, I am so authentic, and what you see is what you get. But like what's on the other side of that is like what you don't see is also what you don't get.
Yeah.
And I'm in control of that.
Yep.
So I'm really working on like surrendering, and I kind of like dropped all social media strategy this year, and I'm like really leaning into like when I want to post, I'm going to post, and when I want to show, and a lot of it is like I'm just going to show up and talk. I'm really loving TikTok. I'm so glad it's back. I don't even care if it was like a governmental psyop experiment. I'm like, just give me back my free speech. Like, just give me back my ability, not like even from a political perspective, just give me back my ability to just talk without Instagram being like, you hit your 3-minute max.
I know. Yeah. I actually was like, 2025 is the year that I like really go in on TikTok, and then all of this came up.
I feel like you have a pretty good voice though. Like, I feel like
I for sure could. Like, I just have not prioritized it. And part of it is I got on the wrong side of the internet yesterday on accident because
that was easy.
It was so easy. I kind of knew, but to be honest, I had gone to like a birthday dinner and I had like a couple of glasses of wine. I was like,
you were like,
fuck it.
Fuck around and find out.
Yeah.
Oh, I did that today. I commented on something like an unpopular opinion based, and like immediately the comments like ate me alive, and I was like, delete, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like,
So anyway, my dad has historically had a very high security clearance for his work.
He's FBI, right?
Not FBI, but a government contractor. And he had like growing up, he worked in like basically a cement bank
like
vault.
A skiff.
Yeah, like just insane, and had to get approval whenever we left the country or whatever. Just like couldn't really tell me what he did for work because that would give too much away, kind of thing.
Right.
But what he would tell me is
my dad works with the government.
Yeah. He does government stuff in cybersecurity.
Yeah.
And so since TikTok started picking up traction, he was like, TikTok is not going to last. It's like the government is not going to let this stand, blah, blah, blah. So this whole time I've had a lot of resistance of being like, well, I don't want to build something if it's not going to last, blah, blah. And now I'm like, I don't know if I really care because I just love creating. And like if it...
Yeah. And I just like keep saving my data, and I'm like, I'll put it on YouTube if I have to.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean... That was like that would made me laugh so hard when they were like, it needs to go away because of data privacy. And I was like, is that why? Or is it like...
Well, it's data to China, really.
Right. Yeah. But like controlling the narrative, like it's like who gets to control it?
Right. The U.S. government has no issues with them being the ones to have all the data, obviously.
Yeah.
But
have you ever seen like what Facebook Messenger collects from you?
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah. I mean, even the fact I was telling someone about this, my friend had like shown me a picture on her phone of an oil painting of a horse that she saw in Paris. And I was like, oh my God, can you send that to me? She texts it to me. I get an ad. I'm like, why are you serving me an ad from my text messages? I had never seen that painting in my life. And the next day I log into Pinterest and it's like, buy this on Etsy. Are you... This is sketchy.
It's sketchy. It is sketchy. I mean, yeah, but that's also I also like want people to like remember that like that's also Aquarius. Like when I saw at the inauguration yesterday, when I saw all the tech billionaires in the front row ahead of his cabinet, and everyone's like, see, it's a technological oligarch. And I'm like,
oligarchy.
Like, oh my gosh. And like to me, all of them, and this is like nothing. I mean, I know Elon Musk has like pretty severe autism. So like I'm definitely like not making fun of that at all. But like there's this energy from all of them of like, we were not the cool kids. And now
look at us now.
Now look at me. That's daddy. Like, like Trump is their daddy. And like, it's so funny. But like everyone's like freaking out about that. And I'm like, listen, this is part of it. Like the path, like this is part of our evolution. Like we have to go
whatever
through
needs
this.
to happen. Can it just happen faster though?
I know.
Like,
let's just get it fucking over. Well, to be honest, like when the election was happening, I was like, Trump has to become president because if he does, he's going to come back.
Yeah.
He will come back in 4 years.
This will not end.
And like what he's like, he brings this chaos that like we almost need because like people need to be woken up to like figure out like what the fuck is going on in whatever that means. But like he does like bring that out in people for good or for worse. But like he does. And I'm like, let's just get it over with because I'm done with this.
I'm just going to disassociate for the next 4 years, basically.
I mean, I think you have to like whether you are a fan or not, I think you have to disassociate in some way.
I will say it pains me but I will give him credit where credit is due. He was like literally live streaming signing bills last night. Like he was such a showman about it. And I'm like, this man,
he knows what he's doing.
He gets press. Like he gets PR. He gets marketing.
Well, his
and like
son, Barron.
It pains me.
You know, it's Barron. Like Barron.
Oh, is it?
Barron's the one that told him to go on all the podcasts.
That man is 6'9". I learned that yesterday.
17 and 6'9".
What the hell?
But Barron was the one that like put him on all the podcasts. Barron was the one that told him to go on TikTok.
Okay.
Barron's the brains, I think, behind the operation.
I see. But yeah, he was signing bills on live stream last night. He's like, okay, read what the bill is and then hand it to me. And then he's like throwing pens into the crowd. And I'm just
his official pen. Yeah. His like sword dance with his flame cake.
Like, damn it.
I was like, this guy understands. He knows, like, even his rally the night before.
You just have to give him credit.
Man
for
of the people the night before his inauguration, like showing up with the people. Like he really does understand it. And I'm like, yeah, Kamala could never.
And I was really loud against him the last time he was up for election. And it was very expensive for my peace. Like it was not worth the fights that I started. It was not worth any of that. No. And now I'm just like, fuck it, I'm along for the ride.
It is what it is.
But we're so privileged to be able to say that because we are white women with financial stability.
100%.
And so I think
who have also done a lot of our own healing and like detached from a lot of like need for external validation and like I think like I just said, I was like, this is the best time in the whole world to be like really healing in that way. Because if you can't, you're going to be very sucked in all the wrong ways for the next 4 years. Mm-hmm. Like for sure.
Like owning what is your responsibility and what's not is
what is yours to carry and what is not and releasing the rest. That's a really good tip for business in general. Yes. Everyone should do that because like how often do you get so wrapped up in what someone else is doing and then it clouds your own brand. It's like just detach. What other people are doing and then also just generally all like you cannot control you cannot control who sees your content, what vanity metrics it gets. You can't control whether or not people buy. You can't control how things are received. You can't control anyone's results. Like there's so much that you can't control. And when you get clear on that, then you can get clear on what you can control and take and your power really
back.
Good at it.
Yeah. And most of the mental breakdowns people have are around things that they can't control anyway.
It's so true. You know, we also have to give credit to Melania's stylist.
Yeah.
She looked fly as fuck. That hat.
Yeah. It was a statement.
I was like, get it, girl. I mean, they all looked great. Like Oscar de la Renta was outfitting yesterday.
Yeah.
The fashion was, I kept seeing reels of like, when did the inauguration turn into a fashion show? Like, when did it turn into like the Met Gala? And I was like, word. Like,
yeah. Well, I mean, fashion has always been a way to like make a statement, like give a signal, like an if you know, you know type of signal. And so I actually am here for the political figures.
And I think for a long time, like stylists avoided the Republican women. Like they didn't want to dress them just for like cultural reasons. But I'm like, actually, the fact that like that's the majority now is probably working in the favor because now we get to see all of these women just like own their like fashionable power. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we could probably talk for hours and hours and hours, but tell me what are you like most excited about right now in your own business, in your own world? Besides your birthday this week.
Yeah. I turned 30 on 1-2-3.
Dirty 30.
So everyone tells me that your 30s are better than your 20s. 100%. So I am feeling excited about it. I had a slight like existential panic last week. So I was just like, am I on track? You know, you know, like who am I? What am I doing? Why am I here? That whole thing.
When does your Saturn return transit end?
I can't remember. I have looked it up.
Soon.
Yeah. Soon if it hasn't already. But I just that check-in of like, fuck, like 30, I'm really an adult now. Like that, you know.
You are.
But I do feel that like a lot of people say that you just stop giving a fuck about things that don't matter in your 30s. And I already feel that hitting. I don't know if it's because people
I feel like part of you has been that way your whole life.
For sure.
You're very Aquarius.
For sure. And also that has like wounded me so much in the past.
Totally.
That there's definitely a
you
layer.
You almost become attached to it again. Yeah.
There's definitely been like a layer of armor for a long time. And now I'm like, you know what? Kind of what we said at the beginning of the conversation of like, I actually am that bitch and everyone can know it. And like, I have done the like, what is the word? I've been like hardened by the fire of
like trial by fire.
Like I've had so many experiences and all of them have made me like more solid in myself and like really come back to like, do I feel that way? Is that true for me? Is that who I am? Is that where I want to go? And now I just feel like a lot more secure in who I am. And I'm just like not afraid to show up as.
Do you feel like big shifts will come to your business?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because what we've been talking about is like when your personal brand and who you show up as and how you show up is so strong, like people can't look away. And the thing that like does pull at me still is the fact that like when you are that strong and magnetic, like magnets don't just attract, they repel too, right? Yeah. So I know it's gonna come with not being everyone's cup of tea. Fine,
that's fine.
Like you have to be fine with it.
Yeah. But the psychic, not Sue, Lorraine. She did my like year at a glance, and she's like, by summer you will have an entirely new audience. And I was like, I feel that. Yeah. I mean, who knows how, like I have things that I'm working on right now, but like, yeah, I feel that. And I'm like, well,
yeah,
toodaloo, I guess, to those of you who leave. I love you.
Or maybe it's just the audience is going to multiply so much that it's like generally the vibe is going to be completely different, and like what people come to you for, which you've already been working on that evolution.
I've already been shifting it. So I know like, anybody who pays attention to my content can see me like when it shifts, you can tell. Like I even took like business out of my bio. Like it's gone. I did that silently like 4 months ago. Yeah, and somebody just noticed.
Didn't it feel so good though?
Yeah, but like I also am the person like I don't get weird about like if I'm like I don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah.
I'll finish out this because like people are paying me currently.
Yeah.
But I don't need to do it again.
Yeah.
Like we're good. Like I knew when it was time to shut down programs. Like I knew when it was time to like do certain things. And there's always that lull, you know? And I'm such like is it making money? Is it making money?
Yes.
Is it making money?
Yeah.
And
no,
so
that is hard.
I've pulled out of that this year of like, it's okay if I'm not like every month is getting better and better. It's okay if it dips a little bit while I recalibrate.
Yeah. Not every month has to be your highest month ever for you to be like on the right track.
Totally. And sometimes like unplugging, like taking my own advice, sometimes like breaking the matrix means that you're not going to stay plugged into that like I need to do better, and like actually just trust that better can still exist even if it's not in like a financial gain every single month.
Yes.
And like it's also, I have to like kick myself in the face when I say this because I'm like, also, Danielle, like you still make way more money than most people make. So like get over yourself.
Yeah, like a slow month is like still beyond what I could have fathomed when I even first started.
Yes. And we've worked our ass off to be able to say that. So like we can say that with a full chest. So yeah.
But it is easy to lose perspective, especially when you are just really driven, you're proud of your work, and you're like, you love to see you put something out, it hits. Like I think this is a Manny Jen thing. I'm not the expert, but like you put something out and you get feedback and you just want to play like that ping pong with the universe, and you're like, it
worked.
So
it
fucking
worked.
good.
And what if I do this? Oh, that worked too. Great. What if I do that? Okay. Well, you're in like your season right now too, so there's like probably big things brewing like underneath the surface right now.
I'm actually, there's like a part of me that's a little bit scared to like really open the box of like I booked a spa day, full spa day for my birthday to just give myself the full day to just like think.
Yeah.
I'm like kind of terrified of my own power because I'm like, what is going to come up? And like, what is that going to mean about
it's like a box
projects and the things I'll need to let go of? Like, I just know that something really big is going to come through, and I'm like a little bit scared.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, especially with Pluto in your first house now, like for the next 18 years, like your first house is going to like your physical appearance, the way you like present yourself, the way you think, the way you show up, like it's going to just transform a lot. That's fun.
Yeah.
My fourth house is transforming of like home, family, roots, childhood wounds.
Oh, good. Love that for you.
The house of the mother. Whee!
Cool.
Yay. So I'm excited for your first house because that's more fun, at least.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Please, we're going to put all of Marie's, I'm going to put your website. I'm going to put your Instagram. You have a podcast. What's it called again? Make Bank.
Make Bank with Marie Wold.
She has a podcast. Go listen. We're going to put all of her stuff in there. And then like, what are your 2 main offers right now for people?
So I'm putting together my 2025 mastermind cohort. It's Empire Mastermind. And it's like I've spent so much money and so much time in other people's masterminds, and this is like what I wish that all of them
Would have.
were of like
It's for like a little higher level, right?
like scaling to multiple 6-7 figures.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like you're not
Love
just
it.
starting in business.
Yeah, but for the people that are starting out, my program Online Coach Kickstart is that girl of the coaching programs, and it's often imitated, never duplicated. And it's so good that it even has a 5K results guarantee. So it's literally guaranteed to more than pay for itself
Yeah.
casually.
I'm going to start just like as I switch away from business, I'm just going to start moving like all business people to you.
We can work out some.
We should. We should like do that. Like I'll do spiritual stuff. You do business stuff.
Yeah.
Great.
Amazing.
Hit them
We
from
can
both
have
sides.
a little referral loop going.
Yeah, I love
but
that.
Yeah. So that's onlinecoachkickstart.com. But usually everything is in my Instagram profile, which is Marie E. Wold or mariewold.com.
Yeah. We'll post, like I said, go to the show notes. Like we'll definitely post all the links so you get them all.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll see you on TikTok this year.
Only time will tell.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.